get killed, the breeze come freeze up, straight dropping the chills. I'm talking taking over pieces and shares. A bomb break sky high, check the movement is here. Yeah, it's one heart, one shot, now the future is yours. Go! Turning dreams into reality. In the lab with the formula and chemistry. The memories spark and motivate and make the industry shake. We put the bars in the brakes. I'm talking one chance at best. Yes, painting pictures for the culture, keep the brushes fresh. Flip the cover with the drummer, passion never rests. Freedom is our teacher under pressure, now we blessed. See, I was so good for the go. There's one art, one shot, now the future is yours. Go! Yeah. It's one art, one shot, now the future is
yours. Go! What's up, everybody? What up, Kyle? How you doing, man?
Not too much. Not too bad. Not too bad. You?
Not too bad. Not too shabby. Oh, another night.
Yep.
So, anybody in the chat? Oh, Desmond Wong. All right, so Desmond Wong is totally gonna be one of our guests once we get this whole like creator camp stream rebranded. I know we've been talking about that for quite some time. It's gonna happen eventually, but we really want to get you in here, Desmond. Huge fan of your channel. I love your stuff. I love what you're doing with these daily vlogmases, and I know you're a huge channel of Kyle's as well. So a huge fan of Kyle's. So thanks for stopping by tonight. It's great to see you a little bit, man. Oh man, Dennis, dude. All right, so Dennis lives near me, and I keep meaning to borrow like his K3M handle just to test out this like Rode microphone, which is funny because I think I'm gonna go ahead and like try to plug it into my interface soon and test it out because I'm just getting way too antsy. But I'm probably gonna end up buying a K3M eventually. But I wanted to test Dennis's, and I think he's whenever we get together again, it'll be fun. I really enjoyed getting together with him one time for coffee, but really cool dude. So thanks for stopping in, Dennis, man. It's great to see you. Mr. Fogel in the house. What's up, guys? It is great to see you. So yes, Desmond cannot wait for this unboxing. So let's,
I can't
without
either.
further ado, why don't we just go ahead and start
into it. So yeah, well, let's talk about what it is first, right?
I mean, let's get to it. Yeah, let's
get to it. Let's grab it.
Take it away, bro. You take it away.
Okay, so I don't get some addresses on here. I got everything covered. Yep. So
also, I just want to do a prenup to this. If anybody hears a kid screaming in the background, I promise you, he's not dying. Wow, that was weird, Mr. Sony 24mm 1.4. He's not dying. It's just that he's having a really hard time falling asleep these days. Usually he goes down like really easily, but my wife is having to go in there, and usually he's in bed by like 7:38. But lately he's been like running out of his room, and I don't know, man. It's not good. But anyway, sorry if you hear him. But let's get right into this unboxing.
Yeah. So this thing just came in the mail while I was gone. I just got back from Colorado, which was a fun trip. I wish I would have had this with, honestly, Paul, when I went there, because it would have been useful. I did kind of open the top here just to see what's in here, and obviously I know what it is, but let's get this thing opened up.
I already know what it is. This is not sponsored by the way, but it is sponsored if you're on his channel.
Yeah. You guys come, I will do a full review on this pretty soon here. Obviously, I want to get some time with it before I just like up and do a review.
And Zhiyun, if you watch this, feel free to send me one. I mean, I got a Sony A7C that looks like it'd be perfect for it, but I don't know. Kyle lives way too far away from me to try it.
All right, so we got this is the Crane M3 Pro. I didn't know which one they were going to send me, so it looks like they sent me the Pro kit, which is kind of everything, I think.
I wonder that microphone actually sounds pretty decent from what I've heard it on other people for being like a little cheap shotgun.
So the thing that I know about this, because like Say Park kind of got me in contact with Zhiyun. I've done some reviews on their products before. They eventually saw my channel, and they said they don't know how I like slipped through the cracks on theirs because I have the Weeble S video that has a lot of views on it, and so they sent me this as well. So thanks Say Park. I don't think he's watching tonight, but anyways, let's crack this open. It's always fun to crack open new products, right? So this is going to be the kit that I think is probably the most expensive one, and it's going to be the kit that is like the it's going to be the Crane M3 with the backpack, the microphone, a little different like module for it. We're doing an unboxing live, isn't it?
Yeah, man, you gotta love the ZV-1 for an overhead camera.
Okay, so in the box, it's just a box and the bag. Everything's in the bag, I guess. Yeah, so I mean, it's like it comes with a cool backpack, I guess. I don't know how often I'm going to use this because I have like 5 backpacks, but
you can never have enough backpacks.
It's white like the Gimbal, so I mean, personally, I think a lot of people might like having a black bag better, but there's probably some creators out there would love to have the white one too. So, and I'm a little overexposed. Let me fix that, Paul.
Technical difficulties. CV1. Oh,
yeah.
There you go.
That's a little whatever. That's still overexposed, isn't it? I didn't have it exposed to a white bag on my counter. I apologize. So, yes, it comes with this cool bag. I don't know how to open it just yet, so looks like it's kind of a flap. Opens up. So this is the Pro kit, which I think costs like $650. So if you're looking to get like a mic and all that stuff, if you're kind of doing run and gun interviews, that's probably this is probably a cool kit to get. You can get this, I think, as like 3 different kits that they make it in. So, well, if there's nothing in there at the moment. If you're using this with a ZV-1, this is a perfect spot for the ZV-1.
Yeah, no kidding.
Just because it's like the right size for that. And if you guys are wondering too, we are using the Sony ZV-1 as the overhead cam. This has been my overhead cam on my channel for as long as I've had this channel. Great little.
I'm waiting for the ZV-2.
Yep. All right, I think we froze up a little bit there. Yep.
Oh, there you go.
So yeah, you open it up. It's got looks like it's got all your cables on one side here. All the different plates maybe. So I don't know if this is going to come with the specialized plates right away. I think when you buy this, they contact you and then ask you which camera you want or you use, and then they send you those. And these are still in limited supply because it's new. So I think this is kind of the universal plate. It looks like it's going to come with a whole bunch of different different cables for different connections. So looks like it has some audio cables. It has a couple of USB Type-C to micro. It has a USB-C to USB. So it's got all the different connections for different cameras, which is going to be a nice thing to have. So this looks like the phone mount. Yeah, okay. So this is like the thing that you can mount on top, and it just expands so you can put your phone in there. That's going to be a nice thing to have. I didn't know if it was going to come with this, so I already had one that works, but I think this will work better just because it's meant for the gimbal itself. Nice. I don't know if this will fit like an iPhone Max or not. I'd be curious. I don't have a 13 Max, so
from what I heard and what I've seen, it's supposed to fit a Max. Yes.
Okay. So then this is going to be, I'm guessing, like your instruction manual or something.
You read all this, man.
Let's face it, Paul. Have you ever opened an instruction manual on anything?
No, especially
Camera
being an
wise.
IT guy, I just kind of bust everything open and go at it.
Yeah. So it's a quick start guide. It looks like it's in Chinese on one side and maybe it's in English going the other way. Oh, there's like different languages like German, English, Chinese. Pretty much a lot of these things are going to be kind of self-explanatory, but if you can't figure it out, honestly, the best thing to do when you can't figure something out is just watch the YouTube video, right?
Of course,
That's
I mean,
kind of
yeah.
been my go-to.
Yeah.
So it comes with a battery. I'm not sure what this is for right off. Maybe it's for the microphone, because maybe it's a powered mic. So it looks like it's got this cool, I don't know if this is like a condenser microphone or what this would be considered technically. So it's a cardioid and a hypercardioid. So so this is going to be kind of like like that Rode mic that they gave you in a way. So it's like a
Yeah. Very interested to
XLR
hear
mic.
how that sounds.
So if it comes with an XLR on the back, I wonder if the cable is like an XLR cable to a quarter. And I kind of wonder where the power in the preamp is coming for this. If this is a powered mic, maybe that's what the battery is all about. I bet you that's what this is. See, once again, probably should just read the directions, right, Paul?
It's a battery powered mic, so that's where it gets
battery-powered
the
mic,
power
so,
from. You don't
okay.
need a phantom power on that thing.
So my guess is if you had a phantom power, Paul, you could probably almost use this thing as like an interface. So it's going to have a strap for the bag in the middle here, it looks like. It's got a whole bunch of stuff. Let me set this down. So it looks like there's the handle on the bottom here, and then there's the gimbal itself. And first impression, Paul, this thing is tiny. This thing is really small.
I mean, it looks like it.
This thing is way smaller than I expected. Because when you see these things set up, you're kind of like, it kind of looks like the Weeble S without the like back part. So it looks like that is probably everything that's in this bag. Let me kind of put some stuff back together. Yeah, okay. So that's the bag. It kind of opens like a camera case, which is kind of cool, I guess.
That's so cool. Yeah.
I don't know if it's got more compartments or not, but let's move away from the bag because, okay, so with the Pro kit, you do get the bag. I think you do get the bag with one other kit. With like the second grade one, I think you get this, the gimbal, just no microphone. I'd have to look that up. Paul, if you got a computer handy, maybe you can pull that up while I'm unboxing this.
Yep.
I didn't really look at the kits. I know that they had several different ones. So yeah, this thing, when you compare this to the size of my hand, I mean, this thing's pretty small. Like here's the A7S3. Like that's a pretty small setup. That's cool. I like that. So this is going to have the bottom part here where you can screw on the like your tripod base, or in this kit, because this kit has the you know what, Paul? I might be missing a piece.
Are you missing the piece that attaches to the microphone?
I think so. I'd have to check. Maybe it's in this bag. Maybe I missed something.
Yeah, there's a little piece that's supposed to attach. So that's the difference. So on the website, you got the standard kit, which is $369 for the gimbal itself, and like a little small
Yep, it's
foam
in here.
case. You got
It's in
the
here.
combo kit, which is $449. That comes with that bag, a little like tripod handle, the phone mount, and like the little colored covers for the lights. And then the Pro kit includes all of that plus the microphone and that the microphone attachment and the bag. So yeah, and it's $649 for that Pro kit. So
Okay, but if you don't need the bag and you don't need the microphone and stuff like that, then you don't need it because you're paying for stuff like this microphone.
right. I mean, it's not free for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not like you're getting it as an add-on. So with this kit, yeah, so there's this piece right here that sits kind of in between the what do you call it? The gimbal and like the tripod. And this is going to be your like audio module, because if you see here, it says like mic in.
Yeah.
Looks like it has a kind of a locking head right there. And that's your quarter inch in. And then at the bottom, it has like your mic connection. So that goes to the connection that's on the bottom of the plate here. So that's pretty cool. I like that it locks though. That's kind of nice that it has that feature.
Do you happen to know anybody with the Crane M2?
Not personally, no. I've used it, but
so you've used it. Do you feel a size difference between those two? Do you know? I know people are asking about kind of
it
what
kind of seems a little different, but I mean, it's not. I mean, let me open it up here. These ones are going to have different. Apparently, what they wanted to do is they wanted to fix the like locking mechanisms on here because they were kind of not great before. Even on like the Weeble S, they kind of get stuck a little bit,
and those are a little bit big. So like the motors are a little bit bigger than the M2. I know that. I use the M2, and it barely could lift. We put the A7 III and the 28mm lens on it, and it, I mean, barely fit that camera, and you couldn't, do full motion with it. It would hit, the stuff with it. It was just pretty much to keep the shot stable is what we were able to do. Say Park and I did a video on an airport with it, but that, I mean, this thing is definitely bigger because the cradle is bigger.
right?
You can fit a full frame camera in that thing.
Yeah,
And Dennis said that it works wonderfully with the FX3. Dennis, are you still here? Have you used this gimbal? I'm very curious about that. Anyway, go on. Sorry.
Oh no, I'm just gonna put this back here for a sec. So yeah, I would say when you have this expansion port on the bottom, which is kind of like for your audio, this thing does becomes a bigger handle for sure. It feels different. It feels lighter too. I feel like if you're not going to use this expansion port, I bet you this thing feels pretty small. And I'm trying to figure out how to actually take it off. Some of these things are a little different here.
Also curious. Tonight, you have, what are you streaming with, the 6400 right now?
Yep.
Could we try the ZV-E10 on that gimbal with the 16mm Sigma and give us your opinion?
Yeah.
Are you using the 16mm Sigma right now?
Yeah, I am. Let's see. So on the side of this expansion port, I'm sorry, there's a couple like flaps that open up, and I'm trying to see what those are actually for. I think there might be some kind of it says camera control. So maybe this is going to be for when they bring out the, because I thought they said that they're going to update a feature on here to do the like module control.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and it does have an expansion on the side for the quarter, like a quarter 20. So you can put like a monitor kick out from there. So that's kind of cool. Let me take this thing off. If you wanted to as well, the Weeble, I think you have it on yours, Paul, too. But the Zhiyun has like a quick connect adapter.
Yeah.
So you can have these like, it's just like a quick connector and then they come off.
I love those things.
I would probably buy one of these for this one as well because that's just been my go-to. And then cool thing, and then I guess I'll have two handles for that. But let's just compare these size-wise too. If you want to switch that back to that other view, Paul. So in the hand, like these feel. Sorry, this camera's buffering. So yeah, it's definitely smaller for sure.
Yeah, that thing looks like a baby compared to that one.
I think this is going to be. I mean, everyone keeps talking about how it's going to be great for full frame cameras and it fits the A7S III and all this stuff. This is going to be primarily still going to be for things like the ZV-1, ZV-E10, the A6400, probably the Canon M50, some of those lighter mirrorless setups. Like I want to see once I start using this how much this is going to work for something like the A7S III, because if this can hold like a setup with like the 20 mil on it, that's going to be a really nice thing to be able to pack in the bag. When I went to Colorado, I had to put the Weeble S on the side of my bag, so I was carrying it on the airplane with the gimbal sticking out. The downside to having that too is that it's you're exposing it to all the bumps and scratches and whatnot.
Right.
But also it's showing everyone in the room like, hey, look at this camera bag I'm carrying around with this camera gimbal on the outside. So it wasn't. I would love to be able to pack this in a bag, and it looks kind of like this thing. This thing's really light, Ball. I think when you close this thing down, this thing's going to be pretty small. buttons are in different spots. Sorry. I'm hoping that you can close this down and keep everything adjusted, but it doesn't look like it's going to do that. Because Paul, on like the Weeble S, how it doesn't matter where you have it adjusted, it'll like
Right.
you can always close it up. So this one, it looks like when you push pull the arm out, it's not going to close all the way unless you like put it together and rebalance it. Although it still closes. I mean, it's still pretty small, even if it's set like that. So I don't know. Maybe you can get around that. So
somebody has a question here. Does it feel heavier than a vlogging handheld tripod, like the Switch Pod, or like one of the Jobies or anything? Because if so, this is gonna be a great vlogging with the ZV-1 and ZV-10 every day. So he's kind of wondering, is it good? You think it's gonna be good to vlog with and standable to vlog with on the weight limit?
So I'm just grabbing this like MT47 because that's what I just got. This thing's a little bit heavier than some because it is metal. This doesn't really feel much heavier than this.
Nice.
Granted, this doesn't have the thing on the bottom, but this one weighs less than the Weeble S1. This thing feels a little more plasticky, but it's definitely lighter. I guess maybe I'm a little used to the weight too because all those quick connectors on ours weigh a little bit, but like this, it's definitely a little heavier, but not by much. I don't know what the actual weight of this thing is. I don't think I have any references and sheets, but when I compare this to, I don't know where I have all my other handheld tripods at. They're floating all over the room. Let's just go with like a really tiny. So this one's like a plastic thing. This isn't like stupid light. Not much different. I mean, this thing feels. Let's give it the ultimate test, Paul. Does it weigh less than a Sigma 24-70? Yes, it does feel like it's lighter than the Sigma 24-70. And this is a 2-pound lens. So maybe that answers your question. I don't know.
Maybe.
I just kind of realized, Paul, so I don't have my ZV-10 down here. My ZV-1 is in use, and I'm using the A6400. That was a bad choice. I should have probably used the A7S III today for the stream. Because now I don't have a small camera to put on it at the moment.
I think I would love to see what the I mean, if the ZV-10 can hold a heavier lens than the 16mm, then we know that the 16mm would be perfectly fine. But
so I've seen people now on some of these reviews. So let me rephrase. Let me start over. All these reviews that you've seen so far on this, Paul, they're all like what they would call kind of the first wave, like the original prototypes. So like Say Parks and everyone else who got this right away, they were kind of all like prototype gimbals still.
right.
I think they had the original firmware. They didn't have some of the adapters. They didn't have, like Say Park said, there was going to be an image control module at some point for this. And that might be what's in this expansion port thing here. But they said basically that they were going to have a second wave of reviews. So you're going to start seeing a lot more videos on this thing in the next couple of weeks because they sent these out to a lot of other people now to do more technical review of it, like the production model now. That's what this one is. This one's like a production model version.
So I got to thank Dennis. I got some video for some of you guys who are curious about what the FX3 looks like with this M3. And maximize. That was really weird.
Yeah, it was like square.
It was like squaring it off.
So this is kind of the feature of this thing. So there's this kind of cool plate. This thing attaches to the bottom of your camera, and then it has this quick release. And it literally just slides into the quick release, and I think you have to unlock it. There's a lock button on here. Let me unlock it. So when you do that, it just connects in, and now you're connected. So when you want to take your camera off to change a battery, you can just hit that unlock button, and then pop it off. And it looks like after you lock it, it automatically locks. So you have to like unlock. There's like a trigger on the back here that like unlocks the camera every time. So that's gonna be kind of cool. So like unlike the Weeble S where you have to take the thing off and pull the thing off and do whatever, it's
I'm gonna try this, see what if it
okay.
have any luck. Huh. Weird.
I don't know what I'm looking at.
I'm just trying to show a video that
Okay.
I'm not familiar as much with Restream as I was. I'm trying to figure out how I'm supposed to share this. It's weird.
So, anyways, Paul, like what we've been seeing with this camera so far is that it can hold a lot, like it can hold some weight on this thing. Like I've seen people running the Tamron 28 to what is it, 28 to 70, 75?
Yes.
And it seems to like people have been running around with that, and it seems to be working. So,
here we go. All right, I think I'm in motion here. So this is a video that he sent me, and this is him with the FX3 on this gimbal, and it's in obviously this like landscape mode or whatever, up and down stories, type of Instagram vertical content, and then but yeah, I got another one here that shows it in the regular formation. So let's see right here. I'll just there we go. So thank you, Dennis, for sending this. This shows you the full motion with it, and it's able to balance that FX3. I can't quite tell what lens he's shooting on. Let's see. That looks like the Zeiss. What is it, like 80, the 25 millimeter, 85 millimeter? Dennis, what lens were you shooting with this? Anyway, but yeah, I mean, look at that. It holds the Batis, or FX3, so that's good.
So right away, my first balance pointer here, it's definitely holding this 20 mil. Like I'm like halfway on this top here that's got the slider. It's hard to show on this camera here. I can maybe go back to the overhead, Paul.
Okay. Yep. I'll go back to the overhead.
So it's got this. Oh, that looks like shit too. All right, whatever, Paul. Let's go back to normal. I can't. That overhead's not lit, and I don't have it well lit enough in here. So it's definitely about halfway on the slider here. So I have room to move forward and back. Right there, that's holding my vertical. And then these things are pretty. Almost all these gimbals are the same way to balance. So start with the one, move to the next. And it looks like it has some. Shoot. You can lift these things up and move them too. I can definitely see right away how this is going to be more of a gimbal meant for small cameras, because my camera's in the way right now of trying to get this thing to turn. Okay, there we go. I'm curious, Paul, to see if this thing's going to have any power on it right now too.
Huh.
Because it did just come straight out of a box, so.
Looks very interesting.
I know that one of the problems with the A7 models is the eyepiece rubber gasket. You're going to have to move. You're going to have to take it off to be able to get it to clear. So right there, it was not clearing. I'm actually surprised how easy this. So once you figure out where your switches are, that's going to make a lot of difference. So Paul, what you use the Weeble S right now, right?
I do use the Weeble S. I might be getting my hands on a DJI RC2, but as of now, I think the Weeble S is perfectly fine. Just a friend of mine is kind of doing an extended loan on a DJI RC2. I just curious on the differences between the two, but I still feel. I mean, I'm very comfortable using this Weeble S, so it's a great gimbal. I'm not tempted to upgrade, but I do like the size of that M3. So
the trick with this camera too is if you can get it to balance perfect without the motors on, this is going to be no problem. Like right now, this thing's balancing by itself, and
So yes, Desmond. If he looks like Dennis said that was the 25mm baddest, but he does the 85 does balance as well. So that's really cool. So yeah, Desmond, if you're looking to get the M3 for your FX3, it's a good consideration.
Something feels loose on here, and I'm not sure what it is. I don't know. The one thing I like about kind of the Weeble S though is that I like once you balance it, everything's set and you can just leave it, and you can put it in your bag and you can take it back out and just put your camera right back on it and just keep going.
I actually put a quick release plate on mine, so I just snap it on, snap it off. That's the only thing I would probably miss with using the M3. You probably wouldn't be able to use the Manfrotto quick release plate as well with that, but I think the M3 is a different beast than like the Weeble S or any of these other bigger gimbals, because if you're getting the M3, you're probably buying it for the portability aspect, and you probably already have another gimbal that you're using for more of those stable shots, or you just don't really need a gimbal with that much, beef where you're continually swapping camera on and off it. You just need a gimbal every now and then, and you don't want to go out and spend a ton of money on a bigger gimbal, and you'd much rather just have one small gimbal with you. So yeah.
So it's got a little bit of flex in the base, I feel like. I'm going to say that right off the bat. And maybe it's just because I'm not tightening this down all the way, but the plate that this thing rests on, or it snaps in, feels like it's got a little bit of play, and I don't know if that's going to affect the stability of anything, but pretty much for the most part, I have it balanced. It's starting to lean forward again. And they said before, the motors on this thing are plenty strong to where if it's not perfect, it's probably still going to work. So it does have.
And
balance,
Deontay, I'll tell you this much, that based on what I've seen from what Dennis showed me with the FX3 and what we're doing kind of right now with the ASO and S3 on this thing, you're going to have no problems at all balancing the 6400 or the ZV E10 with a 16mm lens, or probably any of the APS-C lenses for that matter. You won't really have much, if at all, an issue balancing those setups on this gimbal. I think the APS-C line would probably work flawlessly on this gimbal, and because they're marketing this to work on full frame cameras as well, but you lose some of the functionality with some of the bigger setups that are full frame. But with the smaller setups, the smaller prime lenses on these full frame cameras, it works pretty well, as you can see. So you're gonna have no problems with APS-C line.
Yeah, it's I mean, this is a small lens. The 20 is going to be very similar to the 24, especially weight wise.
Right.
And yeah, it does. It gets really close to hitting that eyepiece. I might be able to put this on back now because I did move it forward just a tiny bit. Yeah, and I clear the eyepiece there, so you don't have to take it off.
Wow, see, it clears that. That's great.
So it does have this cool. It's probably not going to show the touchscreen without flickering. Maybe, I don't know. I just can't get focused. So it's got a touch. It's got a touch screen. It looks like you can change all your balance, your tilt, whatever. I think this thing, if you go through the menu, like I said, I have to actually go through this thing and see it because I haven't gone through it yet. But it's actually telling me what it's doing, like on the fly. Like it has a meter that's going back and forth as I'm tilting it. That's kind of cool. But it's supposed to have a mode just like the Weeble S and stuff where you can do the automatic like weight shift thing.
Oh yeah, auto. Yeah, where it shakes it a little bit and just kind of calibrates it. Yeah,
exactly. I'm trying to get back to the menu here.
Takes some getting used to a new little menu system like that.
It really is, yeah. So it's got I like that it has a thing where it says mode, and then you can actually say like, oh, I want pan follow, I want lock, I want POV, go, vortex, portrait. I don't know what that is. Oh, vertical probably, I suppose.
Portrait.
I'm pretty much a pan follow. So the one thing that I know with these small gimbals, this is something that I've done with every small gimbal, is that if you're kind of holding it in a weird spot and you turn, it'll hit on the side. This one's about to do it. It's not letting me all the way, but you'll see as I'm turning, it hit there, and now it just like adjusted. That's one thing that you're going to get with the arms that are smaller on these
Right.
compact gimbals. On the Fiutech one that I had before, when you hit that thing, it would just everything would just shut down. It wouldn't work at all. But the nice thing about Zhiyun ones is sometimes you can just like reposition the camera. This one's fighting me, so maybe you can't on this one. But that's been kind of one of my favorite features on a lot of them is you're like, oh, I don't need to like use the thing to
Right.
adjust it. You can just tip it a little bit. But yeah, this thing's flying this thing no problem. Let's see if I open the screen if it's going to readjust the weight. Yeah, I don't feel it shaking or anything, so that's kind of good.
That thing's a beast. Yeah, Desmond, I don't think you're gonna have any problem with your FX3 there. So
Yeah, it depends on your lens. I mean, if you're trying to if you're going to try to fly like this, there's going to be no way that you use a Cygnus
like 2470. Yeah, man.
There's just you'd have to put a 2-pound counterweight on the back of this thing. But yeah, it's if you're using a small setup, like this would be really nice to have as like a vlog camera because I don't know if there's a vlog mode. There probably is. Oh, that's maybe with portrait. Nope.
Remember
Portrait
portrait sideways.
Okay. I don't know if there is like an actual selfie mode. A lot of times what you do is you just put it to pan follow, turn it backwards, and then just tip it down at yourself. But I think this would be a decent setup for vlogging because you can walk around. It's not any heavier than my tripod.
Is the triple tap what brings it to selfie mode?
Yep, you're right.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, and then you do have to use the thing here to adjust that. But it looks like this is part of the light. So yeah, I mean, if you're walking around with this, like if you're using things like that ZV-E10 that has that act. So the problem with the ZV-E10 is it has active stabilization, but unless you're using that like 10 to 18 lens, it looks like crap in active stabilization on yourself because it makes it look like a 30 millimeter lens on your face. Like
Right.
it doesn't work. But
I think you're getting some good video ideas here. Desmond's like, he loves it. He can't wait to see you like pack it into a backpack. So you might have to consider packing that bad boy into a backpack in a video. I don't know. Just throwing ideas out there.
Shit, it looks like I could pack this in a pocket. It doesn't stick out, and that's the thing. The Weeble S has that arm that comes out the back,
right?
Which makes it impossible to put in a backpack, like a camera bag. You can put it in a backpack all day long, but when you have to put it in like a divided back like camera bag, it doesn't work. So, but yeah, I like that this thing has selfie mode. That's nice, and it does have a light. I don't know how to turn it on. Like I said, I'm gonna have to go through this thing. It's gonna take. The one complaint I've been hearing from people though is this power button kind of sticks off the side a little bit, and I could see how that might be easy to bump when it's like in your pocket,
bag, especially.
Yeah.
Yeah, Deontay, I think yes, it's going to be a really great alternative for people who want to vlog with it and maybe not use that active stabilization with the slight crop. Even though I feel like the crop does barely anything. I mean, it doesn't crop in that much, but yeah, if you want to get rid of that crop, this is definitely a good little vlogging handle setup. It would be, I'd say, pretty nice if you're using a full camera. But
the nice thing too, Paul, is it has like your microphone and your camera connection right there, so you can connect your camera via your USB or your USB-C right through there.
Yeah,
you could also hook your mic to that, and that's where I believe you have to have for the mic part to work. I would guess you would have to have that expansion module probably. Yeah, you would have to have the expansion module to make that work. That's going to be that piece that comes with the Pro kit, I think. And maybe there's one more kit that comes with this one. I don't remember. Like you just went over it, but
I was thinking that, man, what are you doing 24 millimeter? I was thinking that Dennis, like when you look at that touchscreen in the back, it looks very similar to the DJI touchscreen. So Dennis is saying that the menu system on that is very similar to the RS2. So
okay. Cool. Let's just see for fun if this thing can hold a 28 to 200. This is going to take a second.
A new lens find, by the way. He got that bad boy for $400 used. And,
oh man! And
what a great lens for that. Yeah.
The guy who owned it like it was. He used it for like a week. Like he went out to somewhere and he's like, it's not quite what I want. So then he sold it. So I'm all the way back on this thing, Paul. I'm having one problem with this thing, and I'm noticing is I might have to take the camera off to actually adjust this, but this screw down here I can't get tight when the camera's next to it. And these like screws that you have, you can actually pull these out and like readjust where they sit. I don't know if you know that with the other one, the Weeble, but Zhiyun's been doing that for a while. But it's kind of annoying. But yeah, that's kind of cool that you can take this off. The only problem with this connector on the A7S3 is it's covering the battery door. So I'm still gonna have to take this off. So I don't know if that's gonna be like on the mall. They do make specific plates for the specific cameras. I don't know if that's gonna make a difference or if that's just the like center point, so you don't have to worry about the center point. That's possible, anyways.
Dennis, do you have a problem with the battery door on yours? Just curious. Maybe he, I don't know, maybe he got the plate that goes with the Sony system. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's because it's so brand new. They just don't have a lot of them in stock yet, so that's why they're not selling them. I think they're just like asking you what camera you have and then giving you that one. I asked for them when they were going to send this thing. I asked if they could send. So clearly, I asked them to send the right plates, and they haven't yet. So I don't know. We'll see. I don't think this thing's gonna balance, Paul, but it might still work with the motors. So I'm gonna get it close. It's right now it looks like it's balancing, but it's actually hitting the arm on the back.
Interesting.
So these arms do interfere with each other, so that's gonna have to go forward until I can at least clear that arm. So it's kind of a weird setup that all the way out hits the arm. I don't understand that really, but and I'm not gonna be able to move this up anymore because it's already gonna hit the top of the thing as well. So, and I have the eyepiece off. Let's just see if this thing can hold the weight. So on the Weeble S, if you turn it on, oh, there it goes. It started to hold it, then it went beep, and it just died. It started beeping on me.
It was like, nope, I'm not even gonna try, and it's too heavy.
So the 70 to or the 28 to 70 is a lighter lens than this one. The Tamron 28 to 200 is like a 1.5 pound lens. Still a pretty heavy lens.
Right.
But I have literally watched people with the Tamron 28 to 70 work this. So maybe it'll stay on. Let's see. It's doing some weird stuff. Yeah. So it's not gonna hold like a 1.5 pound lens. Yeah, there it died again. But yeah, if you're shooting on anything that's a smaller lens, like the 24 or the 20 or there's probably plenty of other lenses I can't think of right offhand. I don't think it's going to fit the 16 to 35. They do have a chart though on their website, Paul, if you go to it, that shows every camera and lens combination that it can hold.
Yes.
So I don't know exactly what that's going to entail, but it has no problem with the 20, and that's what I like about it because the 20 millimeter is a great thing. And I would guess it would hold a Sigma 16, but the Sigma 16 lens is kind of heavy too. For sure it'll hold the 30 and stuff like that. I'd be really happy if it could hold the 18 to 105, which is a long lens, but it's probably not going to hold it either. So, but if you have a ZV-1, man, this thing's a gimbal.
Yeah, Dennis said that the battery is completely blocked for him as well. So
for
the plate, he's got a FX3.
Okay. Does he have the FX3 plate, or does he have just the universal plate?
He didn't say. I'm assuming it's going to be the universal plate, but I don't know. Dennis, do you have the regular plate that it comes with, the universal one, or did you ask for a specific camera plate?
Hey, Jake Sloan's in here. I just saw that too.
He's been in here for a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't he have a? I thought he had a copy of this too. He might have gotten one of the prototype ones, maybe.
I want to say yes. I think I saw a video.
I thought he did a video. It's gonna be interesting to try to use this, Paul. I don't know if I'm ever gonna use this in the set the way I film stuff. For me, I'm just holding it as like a B-roll or like maybe vlogging. This would be probably nice for vlogging on this camera. The A7S III is a pretty solid camera for stabilization. You're going to get some shake, but if this thing can hold this 20, this might just be my like vlogging setup period, because
Your vlogging and portable travel setup, yeah.
Okay. Oh, you know why it was beeping, Paul? I had an axis locked. So it might have held that lens.
Wow! Oh man, that would have been interesting.
We're gonna try that again. We're gonna try that because now I want to see.
So while you set that up, if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. We got a lot of people in here that have used this particular gimbal, so if we don't know the answer or we can't test it out, maybe we can ask. And I do want to say that if you own the A7C or the ZVE10, Sony just released a new firmware for that added the animal eye autofocus in video, and it also added the streaming function for the going out the USB, like a lot of their other newer cameras. Now, I haven't been able to test the streaming function on this yet, but the animal eye autofocus works really, really well. And I did a video on how to download that firmware, which it's really not that complicated if you have a Windows machine. If you have a Mac machine, it seems like that update does not like a Mac machine. So you got to try to find a Windows machine. Or if you check out my video, there's like a link to another guy's YouTube video that found some workarounds, but it seems like it's a real pain. So I would try. I was just getting Windows machine, but
you know what makes me a little upset, Paul?
What's that?
That we own Sony's flagship video camera, and there's still no update for animal eye tracking.
And here's my theory. Okay, at least I hope this is correct, but you never know. My theory is they just updated the firmware for the easiest two cameras, and hopefully they're going to add another firmware update for the A7S III that adds all the functionality of those two features, plus adding in some of the ones from the A7 IV, like the focus, like heat, that new focus mode that looks really sweet, and a few other things like the focused breathing compensation would be amazing to have on the A7 S3. I don't know why it wouldn't. I mean, if it has this, just using all the same sensor or the processor and everything, so you'd think the A7 S3 would be able to handle it. But anyway, I'm hoping that they're working on that and they're going to be releasing a firmware update later. But that's my theory. You never know.
You ready for this? So I got it dead off. It's clearly not balanced. You can see it's way too front heavy. Let's just see if it holds it. I'm literally getting no vibration on this. Oh, there it goes. There's your answer.
We got too excited there. It did it for a little bit.
So the first time I was going off because I had an axis locked. I didn't realize that.
Dennis said that he did not. He asked for a specific plate, but he hasn't got one, received one. So he's probably using the regular universal plate.
I mean, the only nice thing about those other plates is that you screw them to your camera and they're going to be right in the spot that you need it to be in to balance. You don't have to slide the thing down or whatever. The one thing I'm kind of noticing right now that might be an issue, Paul, is, and they did give, I'd have to look at these cables. Some of these cables are right angle cables, but the ZV1, the plugs are on the side of the camera that's closest to the arm.
Right.
So I hope there's enough room to have the door open and the cable attached to it. I would guess they would have figured that out. So
we have a question. Does the gimbal has a built-in LED light?
Yep.
All right. Does it look cheap? Do you think you would use it?
Yes, I think I would use it. If you could show me how to turn it on real quick. I can't. I haven't. Literally, guys, this is the first time I've looked at this gimbal, so I have no idea.
We literally opened the box today and it just pulled it out. So
yeah,
I would say that Yeah, based on some of the people that I've talked to, and Dennis, let us know, what do you think about the LED light? Okay, he's giving his opinion. So Dennis has used this. The light is very bright. It's definitely usable, but I can't see it being a flattering key light on people. So yeah, I don't think that's what this was intended to really be. I think this is just you're shooting a wedding, you're shooting something with very low light in a room, and you just want a little bit of light to just help add to the light. Or you're shooting in complete darkness with the A7S3, because that thing can pretty much shoot
Ah,
at night, but you add just a little bit of light, and it just helps just that much more with that camera. So I don't know. Oh, here we go. He's got the light on.
okay, so you can change the temperature control. You tap it again, you can change the brightness. I don't know that it's not bright. It's a little bright. Let me take that back.
I mean, if in a pinch I would use it. I wouldn't necessarily replace a big, humongous. I don't really use a lot of on-camera lights for on the go creation though, personally. But
I did buy another one that I was using if I needed it. Like if you're in a totally blacked out situation with no street lights or anything like that, it's nice to have. There always seem to be a little too bright, obviously, but this one, so yeah, it looks like you hold down the wheel. That's the brightness. It turns on the light, and that is terribly bright. Then you can tap it again, and it'll control the temperature. I could see this being something that might. I mean, I would guess if you have like backlight going on, like something's behind you that's lit, and you're not front lit, something like this might be nice. But I don't know how flattering it looks because I haven't tried it.
yeah, this is the first time pulling out of the box. So if you want to know more about this gimbal, go subscribe to Kyle's channel, because he is going to be putting out a number of videos with this setup. And if you have things you want him to try, you could tell us in the chat tonight, or you could always go find Kyle on Twitter or Instagram and just say, "Hey, man, I saw your live stream. I'd love to see more about X, Y, and Z feature or whatever." Kyle's mad cool about one input on what kind of videos that you guys would like to see and what features work and what don't work. So, go over there, follow him on Instagram, follow him on Twitter, and go ask him a few things. So,
Thanks, Paul.
hold down the wheel and press the wheel to change the color
Yeah.
temperature.
So yeah, if you hold this down, it turns it on. When you first bring it up, it brings up the brightness, and I could see it on the screen. It's actually telling me what everything is too. So it goes down to 10%, it looks like, and then it tells me like 54. It goes from 54 to 44 to 34, no, 42. So it kind of steps down a little bit until you get into the 2600. I'm supposed to get some color. Yeah, so there's some filter things in this bag where you can put like a blue or orange or a red, and I don't know if I would ever use anything other than
I don't know about those,
white.
yeah, but
So my key light is a 5400. So I don't know. Like when I'm turning it on here, it's not bad. I'm you can't see it, but like where I'm at right now, I'm holding the screen. I'm pretty dark because I got a lot of light behind me. But when I turn this thing on, now it's gonna be super bright, isn't it? Nope. It adds a nice little pop, I guess, on the face. I'm definitely more lit and more exposed now than I was not having it. So
yeah, I think it has a little pop there. I could see it on the camera, but well, like I said, he'll do a lot of these detailed shots. I'm sure he'll take this thing out into the darkness and try to use it vlogging at night just to see what it adds. So that's a good little test. Like I said, you got to go check out Kyle's channel if you are not subscribed. Links down in the description below. Go check his stuff out, because if you like my channel, then his channel is like mind-blowingly good. You just gotta do it. You just gotta try.
it looks like, Paul, if you I don't know if there's roll wheels for like focus or something. It's probably when you have the or it like controls the camera modes or something. I have to deep dive through this thing because once again I haven't done it, but I can real quick show you the settings. So this thing's balancing really well, by the way, the 20. So this is probably gonna be my nice new little setup for traveling. It would have been nice to have this yesterday.
I got another
Although
question for you. Have you ever
yeah,
tried the DJI gimbals? Somebody's asking how does it compare in build quality and feel? I don't know initially of what you think. And Dennis, feel free to once again chime in on the chat because I know you have an RC2 or RS2, so you
yeah.
can kind of chime in on that.
I've used them all pretty much. Personally, I'm a Zhiyun fan more. I like how they operate better. I think they're all good. There's not bad. I'm not gonna diss DJIs because they're great. I do like that DJI has the touch or the tracking setup where you can put. I think you have to mount a phone still on the camera or
Right.
something, but you can highlight and like tap a focus and like their gimbal or drones, it'll follow the action. So something like that's nice because then you can like run through a forest full speed, look where you're running, and not even give a crap where you're filming, aiming the camera. So
But I think what he's kind of getting at is the feel and the quality of the build. Like
yeah,
Zhiyun is not like I would say their build quality is it's good. It feels like it's sturdy, but they're made of plastic.
they're
So
more plastic. Well, it depends which one you get. The Weeble S, some of these more like quote unquote travel gimbals are going to be plastic and they're going to be lighter, quite a bit lighter. I had the Crane, I had the original Crane, I had the Crane 2, I had the which one was that called? The Crane 2S, not the Crane 2S. Mine the V2 Crane, whatever.
yeah,
The
V2.
new Crane, the Crane 2S is like all metal. Those are big, heavy gimbals. Those aren't the kind where you're walking around vlogging with yourself all day long because
Right.
those things are tanks and they're not going to be meant for that. They're going to be meant to hold really big setups and be super smooth. And that's just going to be the same thing with like the Ronin and the DJI. It's just those are great gimbals. The RSC2, my friend has one. I'm not the greatest fan of it because I think some of the features on the Weeble S are better. Now,
Right.
I think the stabilization might be a tiny bit better on the other one. They're all kind of have trade-offs. I really like having the underslung mode on the Weeble S. That's a huge game changer for me, especially when you're on like, my boosted skateboard and you're filming cars driving. You need
Right.
to have that thing underslung. And I like how it controls when you're underslung versus the other one has like that thing you have to bend, and I wasn't a fan of that. I
And
haven't
Deontay,
tried the
yes,
RS.
he's going to try. Definitely going to do the Sigma 16 millimeter on his channel. So
Yep.
I was hoping we would be able to try it tonight, but he's using it to stream, and it's going to be a little bit too complicated for that. But subscribe to Kyle's channel. He will be posting videos in the coming weeks about this gimbal with that 16 millimeter lens
Mhm.
on it, and he'll let you know how it balances.
I mean, it's gonna be if it's holding this thing right now, it's gonna hold the Sigma 16. I'm
Yeah,
not
I'm
gonna.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like we said, if it's holding the A7S3 and it's a 20 millimeter lens, I mean,
Mhm.
you're holding a full frame lens on a full frame camera. I think it's going to have no problems at all with that 16 millimeter. But if you really just want to see it in action before you purchase it, Kyle will for sure be doing a video on that. So
I mean, this is like let's face it though, this is still like I said before, this is going to be primarily for A7S3 or A6400, ZVE10, A6300, all those 6000 series, and like M50, the ZV1. The problem I had with the Weeble S is that it was a little underweight for some of those cameras. Like you could use the Weeble S just fine, but like a heavier setup made that smoother. It could not hold the ZV1 because that was too light, and you couldn't even balance the thing with that gimbal. So
my next question is this a minor update for a Crane gimbal? For the money, would you recommend last year's Crane 2?
like the M2, the M2 is a
Crane
good
no,
gimbal.
the Crane I think he look it sounds like he's comparing this to the Crane 2 or the Crane 2, like, the Crane 2 gimbal, I don't know, like, you can answer this too, but I'm gonna give
Yeah.
you my opinion too on this one. You're comparing a little bit different, scopes here. This M3 is mainly for super portable stuff, so if you're looking for a really portable, small, compact gimbal, this is your go-to. It works great with APS I'll say if you're on an APS-C camera, flawlessly. If you're on a full frame camera, it works well with the smaller lenses, but it's not gonna be able to replace like a Weeble S with where it
Mhm.
can hold the weight and function. and I think he kind of hinted at that. But go ahead and,
Yeah.
tell your
I can use the Sigma 2470 on my Weeble S, and it's smooth. This is a 2-pound lens. This thing puts a ton of weight in the front of the camera. Those gimbals are meant for bigger cameras. This is definitely more of a small mirrorless or point and shoot gimbal. If it's the Crane 2 is a really big gimbal, that I've had that. The motors are super strong on that thing, probably stronger than these for sure. If you're talking about the M2, like if you already own the Crane M2, I can't really speak to if it's going to be better or not because I just haven't had enough time behind it. My guess though is because it can hold this right now, it's going to be probably a little bit better than the Crane M2.
the Crane M2 would not be able to hold that setup right there.
It would maybe it would
it-
kind of struggle. It would vibrate.
Yes.
I honestly just holding this though, it feels good. It's got this really nice rubber part in the front. It's light. I don't know if this is going to be an issue of trying to hold it, not bump stuff. I don't know if there's like a lockout mode. I do like that you can charge it on the side now with the USB-C instead of having to take batteries out every time. That's
Yes.
super annoying.
And that's the other thing with the other gimbals. Like if you get the Weeble S, it does have interchangeable batteries. So if you're a guy that maybe shoots really, really long weddings or something, you can have that backup of swapping out the batteries. Now the gimbal batteries, those batteries seem to last. Like I can get away with a full day shoot on that thing, no problem. But if you need that, if you're in a crunch and you need that extra battery life, that's another nice thing. But personally, if it was me and I was looking at getting a gimbal like today, I would probably look at the Weeble S still because it's really a solid gimbal still. It's pretty cheap. If you don't have a gimbal at all right now and you just want the most versatile gimbal at all, like it's affordable, has the underslung mode, it can hold the bigger setups, that 24 to 70 lens, no problem. I have one, Kyle has one, he loves it. If you don't care for the Zhiyun stuff, like Dennis said, he has an RS2, and it's an amazing gimbal. He uses it for weddings and shoots all day with those things. But it's just it's whatever you can budget for and afford, and what you want to carry around with you. All these gimbals are made for different purposes. This M3 is made for portability and just super quick run and gun stuff and travel. But it's not going to work with every single setup.
It's got vertex mode, man. That's all I got. That's all you need to know, right?
That's all you need. As long as it has vortex mode, you're sold.
It's funny when you don't have it though. You're like, why doesn't this thing have vortex mode? I pretty much always just use pan follow and a little bit of POV when needed. But I think this is going to be a good upgrade from the M2 because I was about to get the M2 again because it's something I've tried plenty of times because I wanted to get a gimbal for my like ZV-1 and the ZV-E10 just because I wanted to have something that was a little bit better, a little lighter. And then this came along, and I'm glad. Price wise, if you can't afford to spend $360 on a gimbal, because that's what this is going to be with the basic kit. You're not going to get the backpack. You're not going to get the microphone. That's kind of an expensive gimbal still. I mean, that's not cheap. No doubt will go down in price at some point, but I mean, like the Weeble S is like $300 too. So,
right.
So the M2 is still a solid gimbal for ZV-1s. There's some quirks that you have to with the plates, and I would recommend if you are using the Crane M2, checking out Small Rig because they make an adapter for the ZV-1 that's like a quick attach plate that makes that thing a lot easier to use.
Yeah, I mean that's the problem with the M2 as well. They had that proprietary like L bracket design, and it's really annoying to get your camera on and off of it. So this new design for the M3 is a lot better. So
Right.
I don't know. And like Desmond Wong here, he said he's got the M2 and he used it for his ZV-1. It works great. It can properly hold it, but it can't really do an FX3 or a Sony A7S3 like we just showed here. This M3 is in a whole new class. The M2 is really just for like phones, action cameras, and small APS-C cameras, and with small lenses. It can't even hold all of them.
So my guess, Paul, is that because this right here is the only part that's like actually important for this. For whatever reason, Zhiyun did not make this like an Arca Swiss plate. But it
Huh.
looks like I would guarantee you within a few months or a month, you're going to see something from Small Rig that fixes that, because right, you can see the side profile. It's just like flat on the sides.
Right.
I would guess. Oh, the one thing though that I'm looking at is the quick plate probably won't make difference if this thing's here. Someone's gonna make a plate for this thing. Small Rig will make an adapter that makes it so you can use this as an Argus Swiss and still have this like connection. It's just gonna be a matter of time. Someone will do it. But yeah, after taking the camera off, I still can't believe how light this thing is, Paul. This thing is at least half the weight, if not more, than the Weeble S. But like I said before, now the one thing that I don't like is that when you had the gimbal all balanced out, when you take the camera off, it doesn't like collapse great. So it's either you're putting it back in your bag like that. You can still obviously lock the gimbal, but you don't want the motors necessarily like hitting on the sides in your backpack. So usually what you do is you drop back the arms and put it back together so that it folds away nicely.
Right.
The problem with that is then next time you take it out, you got to rebalance it again. So it's kind of frustrating that is like that. And that's what I really liked about the Weeble S, is that no matter how you had anything adjusted, it always folded up and locked in. So it's kind of nice that this thing has this quick release, but it would be nice if it was able to like pack away really nice too and quickly. I do like how it does just pop into place though. That is kind of cool. I wish they had a better quick release plate for the Weeble S. I mean, you can leave the Arca Swiss on the bottom all the time, but it's like a big plate and it kind of gets annoying when you're holding it. So
I mean, honestly, for mine, I put a Manfrotto RC2 plate on top of it, and because that thing can hold the weight of pretty much anything, I have no problems with it, and I just on and off, and it's already balanced for my basic lens that I use with it, so I can snap it on, snap it off, go shoot some real estate stuff with a real estate agent. Oh, and then we need to come back and shoot some more following around this no problem, just snap it back on. So that's another thing I love about the Weeble S. It's so strong. I can put my Manfrotto RC2 plate on the back of it and have a quick release system, no problem.
So I'm just gonna try this real quick. I know it's not the right camera, and I'm not even gonna balance it. I'm just gonna turn it on from where it was balanced before.
What lens
Probably not
is
a
this?
great idea. This is the 18-105 APS-C lens. I mean, I didn't even balance this thing. This thing, if I turn it off, it's gonna fall forward. So yeah, it's not balanced, but the motor holds it no problem. So if you guys are running APS-C cameras, I've said this time and time again, and this is an f4 lens. It's not the lowest light capability light. It's not the fastest lens. Oh, there it goes. So I probably need to balance it. That 18-105 though, man, is just gorgeous looking on the APS-C lenses, and it's stabilized, so you're going to get a better look out of that too. But being able to use this lens on an APS-C on this gimbal is going to be a big deal for me, because this is kind of my go-to lens for the APS-C line. I bet you I could balance this though. But yeah, I mean, normally you're going to be using this on the right camera. This is probably not the camera to test this lens on, because I would never use this lens on this camera, being it doesn't actually work with this. So, but I mean, right there, it's kind of balancing by itself now. So yeah, I think you're going to be able to use this just fine on APS-C lenses. So if you're going to hold this, it can definitely hold the Sigma, because I know the Sigma 16 I can do on my Weeble just fine. But on this one, on the Weeble S, I always have to pull the camera further back, because this thing's kind of a heavy lens in the front. So yeah, the Sigma 16 it's going to be probably a great pairing. And that's good, because that's like the main vlog lens that you can go out and buy for the APS-C line. It's like one of the sharpest. It's a 1.4 lens. That's like my go-to setup when I used to use that camera the most, was the Sigma 16. So
well, there you go, Deontay. If you're still watching, you see it right here. That's a heavier lens than the 16, and it's on. And not only is it on a bigger camera, but there you go. They should have no problems with that 16 millimeter on the APS-C line. So,
if you really want to try it, though, you want to switch to your screen for a sec, Paul?
Sure. Oh, so anyway, I used the animal eye autofocus with this new setup, and it worked really, really well. So if you are on an A7C or the ZV-E10, you should really consider upgrading your firmware to get that functionality alone. I mean, I don't know. I don't really go out and I go mainly if I'm shooting animals. I go to the zoo with my kid, or maybe I'm shooting my dog or something. So if you like shooting your pets, and it added it in video mode, so that's really cool. Maybe one day Sony will add it to the A7S3. That's what we're hoping for. So I don't know. If they did it for the A7C, they should for sure do it for the A7S3 at the very least. But we'll see. Yeah, those firmware updates are out. I always try to look up for firmware updates for Sony because they don't do it very often. But when they do, it's like ooh, it's like I don't know, extra sugar on top, man. It's like ooh, get more features, woohoo! So I love it.
Paul, you ready for this?
Do you have any Tamron lenses you can try? We did try one earlier. Oh, you got something?
So Sigma 16. This is on the A7S3 because I'm using the other cameras, but this thing has absolutely no problem with the Sigma 16.
So Deontay, here you go. This is a full frame camera balancing that Sigma 16, so it's going to have no problems balancing on an APS-C camera for sure. You've seen it here.
Yeah, I mean it balances just fine.
Do the hokey pokey and
on the Sigma 16 because you're gonna have it's gonna be better for that because right now I'm getting dangerously close to hitting the eyepiece, so I had to take the rubber thing off again. But once again, this is a tall camera. The ZV-E10 and all those cameras, they're not gonna have that. So that's gonna be good. And then if you're using like a microphone, you can just get like a little magic arm off of the side of this, and then like plug your microphone over here and just connect it to the cable. That's what I started doing on my Weeble S. Was I just
SOS garage door service. We tried the Tamron 28-200. We did not think it was going to work, and it didn't. So, but if you
this is kind of a heavy lens though,
right?
So.
If you're using the 17-28, Dennis in here, he has a FX3 and said that the 17-28 millimeter Tamron lens works great on that setup. I don't think and I think the 28-75 would probably be in the same ballpark as the 28-200 because they're very similar size lenses. It's probably not going to hold that one, so you're going to have the smaller Tamron lenses like that 17-28. Now, if you have the APS-C lenses, I think you'll have a little bit more luck. But yeah, you're for your full frame, I think you're looking at the primes and the 17-28. Once you get to that 28-70,
you're getting
5
very
and
limited.
28-200 and pretty much anything over that, it's just gonna be a little bit too heavy for that setup.
But the Sigma 16 is kind of a heavy lens, and this thing's just doing fine. So just chilling.
I mean, I think it also has to do with how it balances, right? Because that lens might be a little bit heavy, but it's not nearly as long.
It's not long. Yeah, exactly. But like I said before too, like it was floating this one just fine, and that's awesome for me.
Right.
The really nice thing too, if you guys are looking for a lens for a gimbal on your APS-C, why I say this is also a really great lens is it's got built-in power zoom on this thing. So if you hook up your gimbal through your camera with these connection cables, you can zoom your lens from your gimbal. That's probably what this like roll dial is going to be for and stuff like that. That's going to be pretty awesome. I do use that a lot of times on the Weeble S, where it's nice so you don't have to like try to zoom the thing by hand or use the power zoom. I'm also noticing, Paul, I kind of like this 20 millimeter on the APS-C lens. It came through really sharp. It's probably not going to show through on the stream because that's in 720. But
what's that make that makes that lens like a 35?
Yeah, probably. Yep. I haven't even looked at the questions all night. I've been staring at this thing.
Just purchased. Thanks, guys. It's in my new vlog rig. Oh man, Deontay. I should have put a affiliate link in the description. It's all right.
No biggie. No, it's gonna be good. You're gonna like it. I can already tell I'm gonna like this. I just like the fact that it's super small. I think you're gonna have to learn how to hold this though, because it's gonna be really easy to hit these buttons otherwise. That just seems to be the thing with every freaking gimbal though, is like the buttons are always in the grip. So as they should be, because you want to be able to like get to the buttons too. So um I'm really liking the fact that you could fold this down to like the size of a tripod though and put it in your bag. That's
Yeah,
gonna
that's
be
really cool.
big. Because like I had a spot for if I could fit it in the bag, but it's just the way the Weeble S's dimensions are all folded up. You can't get that in a bag because it's not straight. It's just like it's like an L shape.
Deontay,
So
did you decide to go with this like their standard package, or what? I'm curious. What did you decide to go with? I mean, I think most people are just gonna get the standard one and be done with
I
it.
mean, if you're like running around at like Comic Cons and stuff and interviewing people and you need the mic, that's cool. If you really need a mic for your studio and you want to put up as like a boom mic, I'm sure this is maybe a good mic. I don't know. I haven't heard it really, so
I mean, you're paying like what, like $300 more for the mic, 300 and or
yeah,
200.
and the audio interface. So, um, I mean, if you're trying to run like a mic setup through this thing into the camera through this, that might be like a nice thing. Like maybe you could use this as some kind of like a interface.
Right.
I don't know.
It stinks that I want maybe they will eventually, but maybe they'll sell that audio piece separately, so that if you don't want to necessarily buy
Yeah,
the whole kit, you can at least buy that little piece. So if you have your own
I think they
microphone,
will, because there's this flap on the side if you open and it says like camera control. There's some kind of pin thing in there, and I think this is what Say Park was talking about, where it might be like they might be putting out a like transmission module, like so you
yes,
can stream what you can stream to like a monitor. That might be where this plugs in. So you might have to get this if you're going to do any kind of remote monitoring or anything like that.
Fly Zone, what's up, man?
But no, I think my first impression is I like this thing. It's on the spendy side for sure. It will come down in price, but
Hey Preston, what's up, dude? And yes, IBIS is so good. They do have a camera that the IBIS is so good you don't really need a gimbal, and it's called a GH5. The problem is everything else about it has no autofocus. So if you're shooting behind the camera, you're great. That thing is a beast for handheld stuff, but
mhm.
but yeah, if you, I can't wait. Sony is getting there slowly. I think Catalyst Browse is pretty good for stabilizing the footage. It's another step. I can't wait,
Right.
till they can
It'd be nice if they
refine
could
further.
somehow like render that in camera, like an S&Q mode or something like that.
Right,
Like
and
after it records, it'll like buffer it. That would be cool.
we know it's possible. I mean, we know it's possible with smaller cameras. Like the the stabilization of those new action cameras is just mind blowing crazy, right? So if Sony can figure out how to achieve that with the hard part is doing it with these bigger sensors, right? So it takes more processing power. It adds more heat. All this stuff just to add that one little feature in. So I mean, eventually, I think we're going to get there, but
Hmm.
as of now, they're just doing the best they can.
This thing feels nice, Paul. This thing's gonna be cool. Um, I haven't checked to see what this thing does through the app. I know there's a lot of controls you can do with a lot of their products through the app, and usually just turn them on. I do know if you guys already did buy this thing, they did just put out a new firmware update for this like yesterday as well,
Hmm.
because there's something to do. There's a bunch of bug fixes, and
And Zhiyun's pretty.
I don't know.
Sorry,
They
Zhiyun
do.
pretty good about that.
Gee, yeah.
They put updates out, firmware updates all the time.
God, they put them out like every week. It seems like sometimes. There's one guy's channel. I swear, there's one guy who just literally does firmware update videos on Weeble gimbal, like the Zhiyun gimbals.
That's
I
hilarious.
swear his channel gets like that's all of his content, which is kind of funny. And if was it Deontay? You just bought the thing, I guess. If you want to find some really cool part, Zhiyun sells these things. I don't know how to take this one off. think it just twists off. Anyways, they make these like quick connectors.
Gosh, those are great.
They're just like little screw-on adapters, and then you screw on one part on the like gimbal itself. Get my face out of there. And then like you don't have to screw anything on. You just put it up, and then boom, it's done.
Yeah, I love that. It's so cool. I mean, you could find a lot of use cases for those, but yeah, you definitely would. I would never want to have a gimbal handle without it again. It's just so convenient.
See, the Weeble S has always been the compact, small travel gimbal, but like, look at the difference. Like this,
Deontay got the
difference.
Pro kit, man. He did.
Wow.
He went out and went full pro.
Yeah.
He got he went and ordered that microphone.
There you go.
He said he does random interviews with people on beaches and stuff, so it'll help him out a lot.
That's good.
I use the Rode wireless kit with the actual microphone adapter now. Oh yeah, you use the interview kit, the little interview handle. That thing's it's good. But yeah, this should sound pretty good. So
yeah, and you are getting this. I didn't unbox this, but you're getting this like 12-foot long spiral cable that can stretch really well.
Yeah, you can probably go really far with that, stretching it out.
My guess is if you were to get a powered XLR mic too, you could probably plug in different mics too. You don't have to use the same one, but yeah, you're getting a long cable. If you just wanted to like do talking head stuff and you wanted to just set this up on your desk and like plug in the mic and use this as like a boom, you could totally do that too. In fact, maybe Paul, next week, maybe I'll use this as my go-to mic. You know what? Hold on.
The quality will sound a lot better, huh? See if you can beat that Rode NTG out or something. I don't know.
Check. Oh, I got to put a battery in here, right?
Yeah, you got to put. Yeah.
We should just do this real quick. Why not, right? I got my interface here.
I mean, I got all night here. It don't matter. I guess we're already running over late. I know. But we got a lot of great people in here tonight, so I'm excited to just keep this thing rolling for you guys.
Yeah, hey Paul, I watched a kind of ridiculously long interview with you today on Preston Jensen's channel there. Preston, I know you're probably in the room here.
Preston and I we chatted for quite a bit of time. So if you guys see Preston in the chat here, go check his channel out. He invited me on for a podcast that he does, and yeah, we had a great time. We talked a lot about various things.
You went off the rails on that one big time. Yeah, you guys went from like, hey, this is a cool camera to I can't like describing the smell of ET the ride. I mean, it was kind of funny. I thought, I don't know.
I mean, it was different. It was I've never been a part of something where I could we went off so far off the rails. It was you really got to know each of us, I guess, as people. I can't believe he's never watched Back to the Future for one. But
check. Let me see if I can just switch this over real quick, Paul. We'll see if this sounds any different.
Okay.
I'm also plugged into my instrument cable because I'd have to get my XLR to XLR out otherwise. So hopefully that works. I think it's got a phantom power. So let's see. Microphone. Let's go to Scarlett. You hear me, Paul?
Yes.
All right. Is it loud? Too loud? Any different?
The NTG sounds better for sure.
Okay, well, the NTG is also like an expensive microphone, so and I'm also going through an interface on my computer, so you're hearing.
I don't think you know what I shouldn't say. It doesn't sound. It's not like this sounds terrible. It's just I feel like there's a little bit more gain out of the other one. Maybe that's just that. Maybe if it just because it is a lot quieter. I will say like you're not picking up as much noise with that thing. Not that you were picking up a lot of noise with the other one.
Check this cable. Check.
Well, now you're really peaking.
Okay. So, I mean, I don't know if it's louder. The other ones.
Oh, I lost you. So much for using this is what happens when you test things out live. You get little hiccups.
That's what we do.
We like hiccups.
I think what the problem is I'm trying to plug it into my like instrument because I just have a Scarlett 2i2 in here.
Oh, okay.
So I'm plugging it into the 1/4-inch instrument plug-in, which is not using like phantom power. So that's probably making a difference there. I don't know. I don't know where all my XLR cables are. They're around here somewhere.
So you're back to the is this the NTG right now?
We're back to the NTG. Yep. But I mean, I imagine this is going to be a good mic. I had it set to cardioid instead of hypercardioid. So
just check out Kyle's channel, like I said, and he'll do a full review of this, and he probably will compare the NTG video mic to this other Zhiyun mic just to see what you can expect out of the differences.
I'll definitely have a talking head, and I definitely already have an idea of what I'm going to do with this interview style microphone. So I'm going to have to plan this one out a little bit and come up with it. So let me just tease you with it might involve a green screen and some maybe some crazy stuff going on behind me. I wanted to go full interview like broad newscaster. So
weatherman Kyle Watts. Let's switch to weatherman Kyle Watts now. Bing. No.
If you guys have any questions though, like leave a comment in this once you're done. I don't know, because the live chats don't stay live, I don't think.
You could if I would say, I mean, just if you have any questions, just go find
Twitter.
Kyle on
go find Twitter or Instagram.
Social medias. Yeah. Follow him and DM him, or send him a message on Twitter or something. Just tell him what you'd like to see, because he's all open for ears, and he definitely wants to know what you guys want to see as far as what you're interested in for this gimbal. So hit him up. Go subscribe.
Also, I'm going to try to do a video. Part in the video, I'm going to show, I think, a little bit of the cell phone, using a cell phone on here too. I know that this thing is going to hold cell phones just fine. It's probably a little overkill for a phone, but if you're trying to buy a gimbal that's like, I can hold my iPhone 13, I can hold my ZV-E10, my ZV-1, and I can hold an A7S III, and like this does it all. So like I had a phone gimbal before. I had replaced it because it was a piece of crap, and I bought another phone gimbal, and I used that like 3 times because sometimes you need it, sometimes you just don't want to screw around with it. Then I bought a Fiutech one for my RX100. That sucked, so then I bought another one. I tried out the M2 before and then all of a sudden I bought an A6400, and now that's too big of a camera for those other gimbals. So like when people say it can hold an A7S III, that means it can hold an iPhone all the way to an A7S III. So you don't have to buy like 7 gimbals throughout the next 2 years or 3 years. Yeah. So if you're spending a little bit more money on it, it might be because the fact that you're going to get a gimbal that's going to last and be useful in multiple ways. So I forgot the thing lights up on the side, Paul. You can't see it probably, but the M3 lights up.
It does. It looks cool. I can't see it, cool.
But so I mean, that's what I like about this the most, is that I was not expecting a small gimbal to hold a big camera setup, and because it can doesn't mean I'm going to use it that way. It just means that it can, and that means I'm not going to have any problems with my lighter setups. And if it's being marketed as using it as for a phone, which is the lightest setup you're going to get on any gimbal, if it can balance a phone, it's going to be good for anything between a phone and higher. And I've seen people on videos shooting on a GoPro with this thing. GoPros are really light, and like light objects on gimbals are not good usually because they need to be heavy enough to balance. And like not, I don't know, like sometimes if it's too light, the motors start doing weird things, and so it's being cool that these new products are coming out that are more versatile for multiple applications, and I think that's cool. So I'm excited to use this thing.
Well, it has been a night. We've been on here for an hour and a half, a little bit longer than we typically try to run it. But if you guys have stuck around this long, we highly appreciate it. We loved hanging out with you guys. Deontay, very happy for your purchase. I'm glad we were able to help you out in your decision, because I don't want to make people buy things. That's not the kind of channel I am. I'm not like hey, go out and buy this. I just want to use the products, and tell you what we think about it, so that it could help you if you're considering buying it. We're not trying to sell you anything here, but I'm glad you're able to help.
I mean, if I like something enough, I'm going to tell you to buy it. That's just my opinion. I mean, like, if I buy it and spend my money on stuff, and I'm like, I like this thing, I'm usually the kind of guy, if I like something, I buy it, and I'm like telling people, like, dude, you got to get this thing. This thing kicks ass. Like,
Right.
that's my thing. Now, if I don't like a product, I'm definitely not the guy that's like, oh, this thing's pretty cool. You should totally buy it and buy my affiliate links and all that crap. Some people will do that, but I'm going to do my review on this thing with my honest opinion. If I have any problems, I'm going to definitely bring them up. I mean, Zhiyun did send me this, but they didn't give me any guidelines. I don't have to stick to a contract. If it's a piece of crap, I'm going to say it's a piece of crap. But my first impressions right now, I think this is going to be a pretty awesome gimbal. So,
And Deontay said you should interview Doc Brown from Back to the Future.
so he's definitely been watching my channel.
Clearly, he's been watching some stuff. Yeah,
that guy is a riot. Andy, my friend Andy with the DeLorean, he gets in character and he will go with it. I'm a
I
terrible.
really wanted to meet
actor
him
with
and
that.
the DeLorean, but when I was there, but we just didn't get a chance to. I thought for a second I was going to be able to do it, but
Yeah, he was I think out of town or something.
So yeah, guys, thank Desmond. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight. Really great. We'll see you on your daily vlogmas you're doing. That's pretty awesome. I love your stuff. Preston, thanks for joining us in. Guys, Fly Zone, Brad, if you're all still here, thank you so much. We really do appreciate you guys' support. And you guys know where to find us on the interwebs. And until next week, you guys know that I will see you in the future.
Real quick, Paul. Also,
Yes.
if anyone wants to see the Weeble S video I made, there's some fun. I have a really fun intro on that one, I think. If you guys want to go check that out.
Check
if
it
you're
out.
interested in a bigger gimbal. And then lots of Colorado stuff coming in a couple weeks here.
So beautiful. Those mountain shots were amazing.
Those were like raw, like low res edits I did on my phone too, so they'll get nicer.
Ooh, I can't wait. I can't wait to see the new ones. Go find them on Instagram. You'll find them. It'll be
One shot, now the future is yours. Go! One shot for the kill, the breeze come freeze up, straight dropping the kills. I'm talking, taking over pieces and shares. A ball break sky high, check the movement is here. Yeah.